Kia ora, Justin here again from 275 Times. Today we've got Toni Helleur from Māngere Connect. Her organisation has been working on some awesome initiatives to support our community through the lockdown during this COVID-19 pandemic. Kia ora, Toni, how's it going?
Morena, we're doing good.
How's your family doing, just to start with, and how are you guys kind of navigating lockdown?
Yeah, we're actually doing pretty good. I'm quite surprised, to be honest. We haven't resorted into staying into separate rooms at the moment, so that's a pretty good indication.
Nice.
But you
Nice.
know, pretty good. I've got two young ones at home, my partner and a 21-year-old son, and we seem to be going quite well.
Awesome. So what are some of the initiatives that you guys have set up to support people in Māngere?
Yeah, so really Māngere Connect is neighbourhood support for Māngere, and being neighbour support, our ethos is really to encourage neighbours to help neighbours, and at this time we're saying that's a pretty strong need to happen. We currently have 30 registered volunteers ready to help those in need. We are focusing more on our elderly, our unwell, disabled, those living alone, and solo parents with no other family support due to their the isolation rules. We're offering help with extreme urgent cases, and that's with food and medicine deliveries, laundry support, and friendly daily phone calls. Basically what we are is just another point of contact for those in the community with their queries of help. And so what we're doing is we're triaging those, and we're obviously linking them to local existing organisations that are out there, for example, food banks, the Ngā Whare Waitea Marae on Calthorpe Close, the Māngere Bridge Budgeting and Family Services Support, and obviously the Auckland Council 0800 number that came out, and obviously other places like the Salvation Army and City Mission, for example. We've got another project that will be starting on Monday. It is basically it's a call out Auckland wide for basically it's in partnership with a local constable, Katie Perkins. And we're doing a big massive call out for old working cell phones that is SIM compatible and that has chargers. Basically this project is, it has been identified that most of our vulnerable that's our groups being the homeless and our beggars out there are finding accessing support near impossible due to WINS or the NGOs or medical facilities, and including libraries, are being closed. So many do not have cell phones or access to phones. So these donated phones that we're calling out for will be distributed by the police to our vulnerable. And honestly, this will be a lifeline.
Awesome. So, I mean, you guys are doing so much. Do you need more volunteers, and what will they do?
We are always calling out for volunteers, and I said before, not only just during this COVID-19 or during the Alert 4 period, but it's really just having more volunteers join for times of when this alert or it's all lifted. Basically, we're going to need some help for quite some time in the community to try and recover from this. It's going to be a bit more longer than what a lot of people think. And then, of course, just to even have a database of volunteers ready for future civil emergencies. And that's exactly what neighbourhood support has always been about.
Awesome. Now, what safety measures are you guys putting in place when you're actually doing some of this stuff?
Cool. So we already have Māngere broken up into 4 areas because we're such a huge suburb. That is Māngere East, Pavona, Māngere South, Māngere West. So our volunteers, depending on where they live, they are already designated to these areas, and they will support those that live in those areas. So that's our first stage of just limiting the amount of travel needed within our own suburb of Māngere. Before a volunteer leaves the house, they must complete a COVID-19 triage checklist. It's a health form. It's one that's available through COVID-19. This is basically so we will not be sending out anybody who's sick to start with. We don't want to spread the virus that way. Once we receive that form, we then send a volunteer guide sheet. Now, this sheet basically gives our volunteer all the information they need about the help seeker's name, address, their contact details, a brief on what they're needing. So it could be just the medicine pickup and delivery. What PPE gear will be required for that particular help, if any is needed, but we have all of the PPE gear ready for our volunteers anyway. When the job is done, they must contact us, or we will contact them, and we'll basically go through like a post-trip follow-up to make sure their hygiene's process is all completed and they're well again.
Cool. Now, yeah, do you have a sort of final message for our community and some people you want to just give a shout out to?
Yeah, cool. So just last words on neighbourhood support side of things. The Māngere Connect is Connect for. It's our concept that we put out there. It's about getting to know your closest 4 neighbours, or your closest 2, if that's the case. So Connect for, keep remembering that. I'd like to say a huge shout out to Swanee Nelson from Bridging Communities in Otara. Your support and guidance around even volunteer guidelines and how to access things urgently, I'd like to say thank you very much. I actually want to do a massive shout out to our whole Māngere COVID-19 community response team. That's obviously yourself, Justin, and Joe from 275 Times, Harry from Māngere Law Centre, who's also a local board member, Honey and Roger from Māngere East Community Centre, Peter from Me Family Services, Ross and John, and obviously our Māngere Connect volunteers. And I'd like to just lastly say thank you to Katie Perkins and our local MPT, which is our policing staff, Ross Donaldson, Steve Smith, etc., because they're basically our eyes and ears out there at the moment on our front line, who's able to give us all the information to be able to coordinate our volunteers and basically let us know what the need is out there. And I guess thank you to MSD for assisting with funds during this time, because without that we can't help our community of Māngere.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Toni, and just thank you for the mahi you're doing. It's so important. If you guys are needing help, either get in touch with those budgeting, Māngere budgeting service, the Marae, who's providing food parcels, or connect via us at 275 Times on Facebook, or email Toni at Māngere Connect, and we'll make sure the addresses and details are all listed on this post. So until next time, thanks again, and remember to stay safe, informed and connected, and we will get through this together. Thank you.